Hello, I'm MrDrButthurt, and I've been working on a tabletop RPG named Nomalous. This video and its contents are for the 0, 8, 10 playtest. There are links for the playtest, Discord, and other things related to either myself or Nomalous in the description. I'm going to keep this intro short and get into the video's topic, character creation. Alright, so we're going to get into creating a character here. There really isn't a right or a wrong way to be doing this. One way is starting off with a concept of your character, kind of an idea of what you want to do. Other people roll their ability scores and select a species or a class first thing. But I'm just going to go through kind of my step-by-step process of how I create a character for Nomalous, so that way you kind of have an idea of at least where things go on the character sheet and how you enter and use things with the character sheet and accompanied with the document itself. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to skip the concepting. I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to be making, and I'm not going to go too big into like the details of the character, like the backstory or anything like that. We're just going to be making a character that we can play, and we're going to focus on, like I said, filling out the character sheet in conjunction with looking at the document. So first things first, the class we'll be using is a rogue. That's what we'll be making today. So on the character sheet, we'll go over here under class, asks us to use the drop down, and we will drop down to rogue. Whenever I dropped it down to rogue, it went ahead and changed my hit points, skill points, and a couple other different things on the character sheet here. So we'll go ahead and we will go to our classes and we'll scroll down to rogue. So here with the rogue, we have hit points of 2, that's good. Class skill points is 8 and is 8. What else we got to fill in here? We got our class page, so let's just go up here and let's look at our class page. Our class page is 25. We can go ahead and put that in there so that way we can just quick reference it, know exactly what page we need to go to. So we can, on the document, you can go up here and you can type in page 25 and it'll take you directly to what you need to be seeing. So back to what we're looking at here, we have proficiencies. So proficiencies is one of those things that automatically gets filled out. They will be showing up in your inventory tab here. So we'll click on the inventory tab. If we look here, the automatically filled out proficiencies are here. They do match up. Our class is going to get a couple of special class abilities here. So we will go ahead and copy these over into our class and talent notes just so we can keep an eye on them. They don't need to be in any specific order, and you can totally move them around however you need them. You can put the page number in here of what they are, but page number here in the beginning, we don't really need to put it in here. Because all the information about the rogue and how it works is out of here. One thing we will want to note though is out of sight, which is going to give us a +1 to hide. So we'll just go ahead and we'll enter that into our skills here. So since we have our hide skill here, and under the miscellaneous, we're going to put a 1, which is going to give us a +1. So if you see our total here net is now 1, we went ahead and just put that class in there. So that way we know that that's in there. We don't have to worry about it later and don't need to keep track of it. All right, so now that we got most of our class here hammered out, this was just copying down the information of what the class entails. We'll go back up here to the top and make sure we hit our checklist here. So the starting hit points, this is sort of what a level 1 derivative is going to start with, which is essentially your character you're making. So the starting hit points is going to be the class HP plus the constitution doubled. So right now we don't have a constitution, so we don't have to worry about that. We have hit points of 2, and if we look at our max HP, it is already being calculated. So that's something we don't necessarily have to worry about right now with the character sheet. The character sheet will automatically adjust depending on some of these values here. So like, for instance, if we were to level up to level 2, you'll notice that our hit points went up by 2 since we leveled up. But we're going to go back to level 1, and I'm not going to go over the character sheet mechanics a whole bunch, just because there's a whole nother video that covers all of the mechanics and the way this character sheet works. We're just going to mainly focus on filling the character sheet out, and I'll touch up on some of the mechanics and the way things are added in along the way. We have our starting skill points next, which is the class skill points plus intelligence doubled. So we have a skill points of 8. No intelligence just yet, but it is automatically calculating there. So that's working out good. Weapon and armor proficiencies we already checked. We have a select one base combat score. So we get a base combat score point, and where that shows up is if we go back to the rogue page next to level 1, we have this exclamation mark. So if we go down here, we can see what the symbols give us. So we get a base combat score point with every exclamation mark. So we go ahead and we double check. We do get that at level 1. That automatically gets added in with the character sheet and these specials here, these special level additions with gaining things per level, and the character sheet. If you're using this character sheet, you don't necessarily have to worry about the base combat score points or the ability points. As you level up, they will automatically change. So right here will let you know if you have any base combat score points to spend, and ability points will automatically be added in here every 6 levels. You just got to keep an eye on it, and if you do have a point there, then go ahead and use it. So we'll go back to our level 1 derivative. Languages. Every AD will know the common for basic communication. Gain our language equal to our intelligence, and then here is a list of the languages. So we don't really need this just yet, because we do not have our ability scores. So that is where we will go next. We're going to go figure out our ability scores. Let's go find out where that information is. Just a little bit above the classes, we do have the starting ability scores. So this will go through and tell you basically just some guidelines, some recommendations for whenever you're selecting your ability scores and where you're putting them. You don't necessarily need to follow any of this. You can kind of do it however you want, but we'll go ahead and move on to figuring out our starting base ability scores. So it's super easy. We'll just go over here real quick. You'll roll a d4, write that down, roll a second d4, and then you subtract the second d4 from the first d4, and that will get you a value between -3 and +3, and that will be an ability score. You're going to do this 8 times. And after you do it 8 times, we will be using 6 of the 8 scores in our abilities here. So I'm going to go ahead and use Roll20 because it's got a dice system built into it. So we'll go ahead and just roll our d4s here. So I'm going to write these down in my notes, and we'll go ahead and add all these up. So now that we got these numbers here, we're going to go ahead and get rid of our lowest 2. You don't have to get rid of your lowest 2 because you're supposed to pick 6 of these out of the 8 that are here, but I'm going to go ahead and just make things easier and get rid of these numbers now. So we know that we have a 2, 4 zeros, and a 1 to work with. So I'm going to go back to my character sheet, and I'm going to put these here for now. So we got a 2, a 1, and 4 zeros, which is pretty good roll. So now that we have what I like to do is I like to kind of keep these here and then go and look at the species that we can choose from. So let's go take a look at our species. Here is a list of all of the civil species in Amaulsoon. Since we are going to be doing a rogue, we're going to want a decent dexterity for being able to sneak around, maybe do some ranged attacks. We definitely want to be able to sneak around and hide though. And intelligence doesn't hurt either. So we'll definitely have a lot more points to put in our skills whenever we get to them if we have a higher intelligence. But we're just going to go ahead and go with the halfling. We'll put our species in here. So we have a +1 in dex and a -1 in charisma. So we're just going to go ahead and put that here. So for now we got the 1 in dex and then the -1 in charisma. So that way we know this base is going to be our starting point. So if we go ahead and put these in there now, whenever we start placing our ability scores that we rolled, we'll know where we stand already from our species. So we'll just go ahead and keep those guys there. We do get low light vision, so we're going to go ahead and go back to our class and talent notes. We'll just go ahead and put these guys in here as well. So we can either copy and paste what low light vision does, put the page that this is on or if you know what it is, then you don't have to put any of that information. But we're going to go ahead and put page 9, so that way we know to look there if we need to. And then we can go in and fill out some of this other information here, such as our height, age, size. We're going to go ahead and put size down here as small. All right, so I got that information filled out. Alignment is something that you can put in here. This just kind of is more for role-playing purposes. It really isn't tied to, I mean, all of these here are for role-playing purposes. So we'll just go ahead and leave the alignment untouched for now. Same thing with the deity, the player name, and then the derivative name. This character sheet will be available for people to play with in the pre-made characters. So I'm just going to leave those open just in case you want to fill those out on your own. But we have our information here. Good with the species. We're going to go and we're going to start putting our ability points into where they need to be. Strength of 0. A dexterity of 3, constitution of 0, charisma of -1, intelligence of 1, and a wisdom of 0. So we have our totals here. Our totals are automatically added in the ability section on all of the skills, so we won't have to add those in later. And then we'll get back to our skills momentarily. So now that we know that we have an intelligence of 1, so we get languages. So if we go to our inventory page, we do have some languages we can put in here. So everybody knows common, and then we get a bonus language because we have a 1 in our intelligence. So we currently have a 1 in our intelligence, which will give us a bonus language here. We will choose halfling since we are halfling. So going into the lore a little bit more, like especially with like languages and your species, under the Anomalous Derivative Directive, you have your derivative, alignments, deities, magics, and then the lore of the derivatives. So this is going to be your species, your classes, and how they act and work in Amaulsoon, which is the continent that is in Nomalous. So that'll give them their lore, the languages, for instance. Each language will be under each species. So if we go to the halfling here, under social observation, we will have the description of their language. Each species will have this there. So now that we got our species hammered out, we have our abilities hammered out, and we have our class hammered out, we have a good solid here. So we got our halfling rogue totals here added in. So we're going to look at our base defense bonuses now. Our physical attack is a +1 currently. Our physical defense is a 4, which is really good at level 1. Energy attack is 0. Energy defense is 0. The energy defense is defense against spells. So, I mean, we don't have any bonuses, but on the bright side, we don't have any negatives either. And our initiative bonus is 4. So our initiative, we get a bonus from intelligence and dexterity, which is nice. Since those are our higher numbers, whenever the round starts, more than likely, we will be going first as this character. We do have 1 point to spend, like I was talking about earlier, and the points will go in this section here. We will go ahead and I would say we're going to put it into our physical attack. Since we're not going to be casting spells, we got a pretty good defense. You could either put it in the attack or the energy defense, I would recommend. But if we're going to be going first and doing sneak attack as a rogue, we will definitely want to be able to hit on our first shot. So we'll go ahead and we will just put physical attack as the point that we're spending there. So we will move on to skills next. The level 1 anomalous derivative, if we go back to our starting skill points, is going to be our class skill points, which is the 8, plus the intelligence, which is 1. That will give us a total of 9, and then we're going to double it, which will give us 18. So these are our skill points that we can spend and increase our values in our skills here. There is no limit to what skills you can choose. It kind of just depends on what you want to do as a character in your group, what you want to focus on. So we can put 18 points wherever we want in this column here. You can put a max of 5 And right now, how that is calculated is 4 plus your current level. So 4 plus our current level, which is 1, is 5. So we can put a max amount of 5 points in any skill. But now we can see that we've used all of our skill points. So we're all good on skill points there. We will go ahead and we will start to look at our weapons and gear. So we will go ahead and go back to the table of contents, and we're going to start off with general goods, currency, weight limits, all that good stuff there. So currency, this is a breakdown of the different types of currencies. On the character sheet, it is also broken down if you highlight above it. That just lets you know, 10 copper equals 1 silver, 10 silver equals 1 gold. And bismuth is a special currency to Nomalous. So this is the different forms that bismuth is normally found in. And then there's information here about how it's used. And so since our observing scribe is going to be nice, they're going to let us start with 150 gold. So we'll go ahead and we will put 150 gold in here. Carry weight and lifting weight. This is a breakdown of like what your strength score is, what your max loads. I calculated all this out all the way up to 20. You probably won't see these numbers, but I put them here just so that way you don't have to do the calculation. You can just go over and enter them. And on the character sheet, it's down here, and it automatically adjusts based off of your strength. So if you're using the character sheet, that'll automatically happen for you. So we'll go ahead and we will move on to equipment and goods. So we can kind of jump around here a little bit. We do know that we definitely need open lock. We need a lock picking kit. So we're going to go down here and we have skill kits here. So thieves tools, what we need. We're getting flawed. They're going to give us a 0 bonus, but they are going to allow us to use the skill. So where we'll put those is we're going to go just in the inventory here, and we're just going to put thieves tools in. So there's our thieves tools. We have 1 set of thieves tools, and they weigh 3 pounds. So our pack load is currently 3 pounds. We will see that we are paying 15 gold. So we will subtract 15 gold from our 150. Whenever I'm doing a character sheet like this and I'm doing my first buy through, I like to put the equal sign here before the 150. So if we put equal 150, now we have a formula. So what that allows us to do is we can go ahead and instead of like doing the math in our head and getting 35, like 150 gold minus 15 gives us 135. We can put minus 15, and that'll let us know that we have 135 gold pieces to spend. So now that we have our thieves tools, we'll go ahead and we will look up and see what we want here. We will for sure, we're definitely going to come back to this area. I usually like to hit this area up last because I definitely want to make sure that we have a good set of armor and a good weapon at least. So we'll want to spend most of our gold on that, but we will for sure need a backpack. So I'm going to go to our inventory here, put backpack. We have 1 of them, and they weigh 1 pound. And they are pretty cheap. They are a gold. So we'll just go up here and we will subtract 1 more gold piece. Now that we got that sorted, we will go and scroll down until we find our armor. So under your armor, you will be able to wear some different types of clothing that have different types of purposes. You can go ahead and choose one of these. So we'll just put adventurer clothing here. It weighs 1 pound. So we got some adventurer's clothing that we have just in case we don't want to wear our armor. But that is going to cost us 5 copper pieces. So in order to get to copper pieces, we need to take away 1 gold, which will turn into 10 silver pieces. And then we will need to take away 1 silver piece to get our copper. So since it's 2 copper, we're going to be spending 2 copper out of the 10. and that will get us our 8 copper. Copper and silver pieces, I usually don't do the equals because you usually don't have that much of it. Because of Way of the Shadow, the rogue must be unarmored or be wearing light armor in order to gain bonuses from their sneak attack or their like out of sight. Any of their special abilities that they gain as a rogue, they can only be wearing unarmored or light armor. Realistically, we're not going to be looking at these. We're going to be looking at our light armors here. Things to keep in mind whenever you're looking at light armor is going to be the skill debt. So these are skill check debt. This is how much you will get negative on certain skills. So if we look back over here at the skills, we have the little star is affected by skill. There are a handful of them that are affected by skill debt. Skill debt will automatically get added in. You don't have to go in and type and change it. It's part of the character sheet whenever you enter your armor, and I'll show you that here in a minute. I just wanted to go over and let you know that this is kind of a big thing to keep an eye on if you're trying to do a lot of sneaky stuff or do a lot of physical actions. It's like jumping, moving silently, opening your lock, like your armor and stuff can get in the way while you're trying to perform those actions. So that is what the skill debt sort of represents. I'll probably go with studded leather, and studded leather is 50 gold. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract 50 gold from what we have now. So under our defense, gear, and prosthetics, we will put our studded leather here. So get rid of the armor name, change it to studded leather. It is a light armor, and the condition is ordinary. So these are all ordinary costs. If you wanted to get flawed, you could at half the price. Is what that would do is if, like, for instance, if we bought studded leather and we bought it for 25 gold at flawed instead, our physical defense bonus would be -1, the energy defense bonus would be -1, the dex cap would go down by 1, we would get 1 to the skill debt, but it would be at half price. If we really wanted to, we could shuck out 100 gold and get an extra energy defense, get a -1 on the skill debt. We'll just kind of stick with what we got here, and we will enter in the studded leather information on our character sheet. So our physical defense bonus, the PDB, is going to go here. That's a 3. Our energy defense bonus is a 1. The max dex cap is a 6. We have a dex of 3, so we don't have to worry about that. Basically, is what the max is dex cap is let's say if you had a 10 dexterity and you put this armor on, that 10 dexterity would technically only be a 6. So you wouldn't get the full 10 dexterity because the armor would be hindering some of your movement. But that's not something we have to worry about. We've got 3 dexterity, so we're good there. And then our skill check debt is 0, so we're good there. And then the weight is 20. So now if we look here, our physical defense is 12, which is pretty good for level 1. If they catch us off guard, we have a 9. And then if they're just trying to touch us, it is a 9 as well. So we are going to go ahead and move down into weapons. So since we're small, we're going to be using the S damage, which is the small damage. That's covered up here in the introduction to the weapons and like what these mean. We're going to want to keep our distance with this guy. So let's go ahead and let's just double check to see what we can use. Untrained. So anybody can use untrained this stuff. Like, you don't get any negatives for using untrained. So this, like, untrained unarmed, untrained light melee, anybody can use this even if it doesn't show up in your proficiencies. The only bonus you get to having it as a proficiency and using an untrained weapon is there is a class skill that everybody gets that lowers the amount of action points you need in order to attack with specific type of weapons. And the specific weapons they refer to are weapons that are in your starting proficiencies or within your proficiencies or learned proficiencies. We won't even be touching that on a rogue for a while, so for now we can kind of use whatever we want. Longbow's not bad. Ordinary cost is 75 gold, so I think we're going to go with the longbow. So for our ranged weapon here, we're going to go with bow long. And then I like to put in parentheses here small, if I'm a small size character, just to keep track of that. We're just going to buy a regular one, and the only two things we really need to pay attention to is the range, so we'll fill out the range, and then we will fill out the weight, which will be 4. These you do not have to worry about, the attack plus and the damage plus. Those are attack bonuses and damage bonuses that you would get from the weapon itself. So if the weapon was magic, or if you had talents that gave you bonus damage to this specific type of weapon. But since we don't have those talents and we can't afford a magic weapon, we're just going to go ahead and leave those 0 for right now. So as you can tell, the ranged weapons do not have a damage here. The damage is going to be based on the ammo that we're using. Our normal shots, broadhead shots, piercing shots, and hollow shots. The cost greatly varies here, and especially with the amounts that you get. So, for instance, a piercing long arrow, one of them is 5 gold. So we're not going to be buying one of those. First off, we definitely need to go up here and we need to remove this from our... We have 8 gold pieces left, but we have a bow. We are going to definitely buy probably 20 arrows. Let's start off with 20 arrows. No, let's make it 30. We'll spend 3 gold to get 30 arrows. And those do 1d6 damage. So we enter that here. 1d6 plus 0. And then our hard hit crit on this. So our hard hit's going to be 11 through 12. And then our critical is going to be times 3. Again, we bought 30 of them. 30 of them at 1 gold per 10 is going to cost us another 3 gold. So we are burning through money at this point. We focused heavily on the longbow since that's where our strength is. So for instance, whenever I attack with this ranged weapon, I will add this attack plus this attack to my roll. So I'd roll a D12, and then we'd add this physical range bonus plus this attack bonus here. At level 1, we're going to be hitting more than we're missing, which is good. We will now go look at our weapons. So in this case, we have 5 gold. We don't have a lot of money to spend on a weapon, but our fists are not going to do a whole lot of damage. We're going to go ahead and we are going to look at the untrained melee one-handed weapons, and we're going to go with the club because clubs do not cost anything. We're basically picking up a log off the ground and going to whack people with it. So we'll put that in here. Now will give us a hand-to-hand weapon. We need the other information from it here too. So since we are small, we're going to be using this first one. Our small is going to be 1d4 plus 0. Then our hard hit crit is going to be 11 through 12 times 2. And the weight of the club is going to be 3. And it didn't cost us anything. All right, so we got a melee weapon. We have a ranged weapon. We got some armor. Our armors are looking good up here. Our ranged attack, we're definitely going to be ranged attack here. The club's there for a last-ditch effort if something gets a little too close and needs a good bonk. So it's better than slapping them around, I suppose. We will move back into our inventory. And now we have to maybe buy some goods here. So we'll come back here, and then these are more of your utility items. They're broken up into their uses, essentially. So these are different containers. These are different barrels, bask, and then like the containers continue down there, pitchers, crafting items. These are crafting materials. That's how that's kind of broken down. Detainment, protection, and security. So like caltrips, locks, different types of locks, manacles, foot traps.
fire and light. So I like to go and just kind of do a quick overlook of everything we got here just to kind of choose what we want. There, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to say to hell with it. We're going to do a trench lighter. The trench lighter does have 150 uses. You can keep track of that however you would like whenever you're playing. Talk to your observing scribe how you want to do it. I mean, you can subtract it every time you use it. That's why it's there. Or you can just say you're good. If you need to, you can also get like a refill or anything for that. The trench lighter refill comes with a refill. It's all described in here. I'm not going to go over it too much. I'm getting a little too into it, but all the descriptions for these items are under here. Consumables. So we'll go scroll down a little bit here. Consumables will cover everything from healing potions to meals. And we're here for the meals. We are not going to be able to afford any of that on a level 1 pocketbook. Wrapped rations. We're just going to go with wrapped rations. So we can get some just flawed wrapped rations. I mean, they're probably not going to taste the best. It's probably not going to be the best thing in the world to eat, but it's going to keep us full. With how broke we are, we're not going to care that much. So we're going to buy 10 of those. 10 wrapped rations at a copper a piece is going to be 1 silver. So we're going to drop the silver down to 6. We're going to spend our 1 silver, and we are going to get our rations wrapped. They are flawed, just so we know. So we got 10 of those guys at 0.5 pounds a piece. It'll show 1 here just because it rounds up here, but it will add it correctly down here for us. So we're doing pretty good, considering we have our 3 thieves tools there, bedroll. So it might be a little confusing here. That was something I will definitely fix, but for now, just kind of keep that in mind and pay attention to the total pack load down here. So we only got 11 pounds in our backpack. We're traveling kind of light. We got whatever we need. We're going on an adventure here. If we go to our main page, we can look at our current load, which is 38 pounds. So the 38 pounds comes from the 11 pounds in our pack, plus our armor, and plus our weapons. So we're traveling pretty light. So we'll go ahead and fill the rest of this out. Our current hit points is going to be 4. We don't have any endurance damage. We are well rested. We don't have any energy to worry about because we are not a spellcaster. And just one little overlook here to make sure we're all good. And we are good. So that is a rogue made using the Anomalous derivative directive and the digital character sheets. So hope this video is helpful. Help you walk through some of the intricacies of Nomalous during this playtest. I appreciate you showing interest in the playtest, and I hope to hear from you. I'm interested to see what everybody has to think about it, and I want to keep developing it, keep making it better. Without you guys, I would not be able to accomplish this. So thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, that's all for now, and I will catch you guys next time.